Okay.
Okay, so hello everybody and welcome to the webinar. This is the next in the series of webinars that we continuously organize to help promote the vision of LASSIB, and we have with us today one of the prominent I think partners of LASSIB, who's been associated with LASSIB since the inception of LASSIB itself. So it's a great honor to have Mr. Madhav Reddy, founder and CEO of RedMad Learnings, with us to present the webinar. Before we start the webinar, I would like to give a brief introduction to Madhav, and you'll understand the intense background that he comes from and why he is the right person to actually speak on the topic today. So Madhav has been in the field of training and development for the last 11 years. He has been conducting training programs in various colleges, universities, public and private corporate sectors across India. By qualification, he's an MBA from ICFA University and holds a bachelor degree in science from MS University, Vadodara. He also holds a bachelor degree from NIT in software programming. He's a certified MasterCard Academy on banking operations and a certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. He handles various quality improvement projects across organizations as a quality consultant, and designs various training programs for his clients. So they're all customized training programs which he continuously keeps updating as per the requirements of the customer. He's associated with various management, engineering institutions and many corporate sectors across India as a trainer. He initiated a project, I Am Six Sigma, in June 2011, in which he has conducted free orientation programs in Six Sigma for engineering and MBA students across Andhra Pradesh. Nearly 3,000 students got benefited from this program. And in the end, he is the founder and CEO of RedMad Learnings and providing services to clients based in India, Dubai, Malaysia, Nepal, and Tanzania. That's a very impressive profile, Madhav, and thank you once again for being a part of LASSIB and hosting this webinar for us. May I request you to move on to the next slide?
Yeah.
So before we start the webinar, I'll take just 2 short minutes to introduce LASSIB, and then you will hand it over to Madhav to talk about the topic of today, which is Muda. So we thought it fit to kind of introduce. So what is LASSIB and why are we here? Why are we doing these webinars? So LASSIB stands for the Lean and Six Sigma International Board. It is a not-for-profit society specifically focused on spreading awareness around the benefits of using Lean and Six Sigma, not only as corporates or as organizations, but these concepts are equally powerful when applied to individual life and applied to student life and applied to not-for-profit organizations as well. So these concepts are here to stay, very, very powerful, and have delivered immense business value and excellence to various organizations. So which is where we kind of do these webinars almost every week and touch upon one topic associated with the Lean and Six Sigma and try and spread awareness around that. So LASSIB is a very new organization, a relatively new organization. It's just been about 2 years that we have been formed, but we are very proud that in these 2 years we've been able to touch the lives of about 10,000 professionals from across 40 countries, and that number continues to grow each day. So the feedback, the participation from people, their suggestions, their involvement. We have partners across, UK, USA, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Australia, Dubai, as Dubai as in the UAE. The partners across globe, are promoting the vision and goals of LASSIB, and it's very, very heartening to see the response from all these countries. So moving on to the next slide. So quickly, just some ground rules before we start the webinar. The total duration is about 45 minutes, out of which we have 30 minutes reserved for presentation time and 15 minutes for Q&A. If you have any questions, we will have to request you to type in your question in the chat window, which you will see in your GoToMeeting console on your right-hand side. So if you have a question, just type in it there and just click the send button, and it will be received by me as the host. I am, sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Shilpa Kota, Secretary with LASSIB, and I will be, moderating the webinar today. So if you have any questions, type it in. I will make a collection of those questions and pose it to Madhav towards the end. That is the Q&A section. This webinar is also being recorded, so if you want to refer to it, you can go back to lassib.org and view the recording, download the presentation from there. If you have any questions or feedback or suggestions, you can note down the email ID and mobile number. And as I said, the presentation is also available for download after the webinar. So you can, don't need you worry about noting them down quickly right now, but you can always refer to it in the presentation on lassib.org. So with that, I welcome you all once again to the webinar and hope you find it fruitful. And we look forward to your questions and feedback. And I pass it on over to Madhav now for the presentation. Madhav?
Yeah, thank you, Shilpa. Welcome everybody to this webinar. This is Madhav from RedMad Learnings. This complete webinar today we will be focusing on the 7 types of corporate waste, or the most commonly used word Muda in Japanese language, and why do they occur, what are the reasons for them, occurrence of them, then what they can do, what damage they can do, and what are the tips or what are the solutions we have in order to avoid these types of waste. Now, when we go upon websites or go through any articles, we always hear about one word Muda, which is the waste. But as per Japanese methodologists, apart from Muda, they do have 2 more types of waste, which is called as Mura and Muri. Okay. Now, in this particular webinar, I am concentrating only on the Muda factor, but I would be giving the definitions of Mura and Muri and what exactly are they. Starting with Muda, as we all know, this is the waste which does not add any value to the process. It only consumes time or create more errors, and this is the waste for which the customer does not pay. So our first target would be avoiding this waste, and which is in the form of 7 forms. The second type of waste is called as Mura. This is nothing but simple unevenness in process. This normally occurs because of changing procedures. Say every week a process is getting changed. So instead of enough training is not being given to the people, so they keep on working with a combination of old procedure and the new procedure, or with inadequate knowledge, and that's how again the process goes uneven. So for example, as I mentioned, this is due to unclear process maps or work instructions or changing procedures. And the third type is called Muri. This is nothing but an overburden on a particular operator. Maybe the corporates are expecting one person to do a 3-man work. So that's how Muri comes into picture. And this also happens because of absence of clear job objectives. The employee does not know what exactly is his work area or what exactly does he has to do, or inappropriate recruitment policies. Maybe it's like a right person on the wrong job. That's how we believe in. So going forward, now we'll be discussing only about Muda. The 7 types of Muda or waste are: first is transport, second inventory, third motion, fourth overproduction, fifth defects, sixth overprocessing, and finally waiting. Now, when I do programs about Muda and quality management, a lot of students or candidates, they do ask me, it's very difficult to remember all these 7. So is there any easy way to remember them? So I, also being a mnemonics trainer, so I came up with a shortcut to remember these 7 very easily. Now, whenever in quality management, what we say is, if you have error, if you have a waste, or if you know something going wrong, just go it and do it. Solve it, solve the problem. So we say, do it now. So what I say is, remember these 7 types of Muda, just remember the word, do it now. Because these 7 letters represents those 7 wastes. The only change we have to do here is remove N and remember M. So what does it stand now? D for defects, O for overproduction, I for inventory, T for transport, Instead of N, we have M. So M for motion, O for overprocessing, and W for waiting. So just remember, do it now, and you remember the 7 types of waste. Simple. Starting with our first type of waste, defects. Anything that does not meet the specified requirements or the customer requirements, or anything that is produced not as per plan, is called defect. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So why does defects happen? Maybe because of lack of understanding of what exactly is a defect is and what exactly is a defect free is. Some companies, they do have parameters, but the employees might not know those parameters. So they keep on producing the items. That's when they don't know the difference between the both. Or lack of specification in the work process, or inaccurate design and processing. Now what these defects can do, major damage, what it can do is, it will discourage your customers. You will start losing your customers. Now in order to rectify these defects, you again have to implement some cost, time and materials again. So your rectification cost increases, and because of these defects, definitely you will lose customers. So you always prefer be right in the first time. Now what are the things you can do? Or before that, why exactly do we call this as a waste? First, because it adds costs. Second, it interrupts the schedules, or it consumes more resources apart from the planned one, and it creates more paperwork and also reduces customer confidence. So what are the measures we can take to avoid them? One is regular quality checks at various meetings of the production, training on quality parameters, on-the-job training, which is one of the best options, because mostly you would find that defects occur either by the new interns or somebody who are not completely trained. So it's better to provide them on-the-job training. Now coming to second one, which is overproduction. Now this happens when you create more than what the customer requires, or your planning goes far wrong, or you are expecting a huge sales in the coming months or because of some festival season or something, and you just go on producing them, but it does not happen. So what are the causes? Maybe because of customer focus, or poor people utilization, or no clear specifications of who needs what, or computer systems not linked. Like the people don't know that, how much has been produced, or they don't have the data of the previous batches, like what batch number 1, how much did they produce, or batch 2, how much did they produce. Now what are the effects this could have caused? Again, just like defects, even overproduction would cause you money, because apart from the money involved in the cost, you also need warehouse space or to store this inventory, store the finished goods. So again, that's going to consume money. It again consumes resources ahead of plan. It creates extra or unnecessary inventory. The next defect which we are going to discuss is inventory. So overproduction and inventory, you can say it's like twin brothers. They both go together. Or space utilization. I just discussed, it requires more space to produce them or to place them. So what are the measures we can take? One, clear interpretation of regulations. Second, never assume. Always have better planning, or we can use the best forecasting tools available in the market. And I said inventory and overproduction, they both are very much related. Now inventory can be in two forms. One, the raw materials which we keep the stock, or the stock which you have produced, the results of overproduction. So inventory is a buffer used to hide all of the problems in your system. It insulates you from supplier failure or poor scheduling or breakdowns, poor quality, and many other problems. Some companies, they do keep stock of raw materials because they are afraid, what if the suppliers could not support us on the time, or what if something like strikes or some burns or something like that happen. So they keep the inventory in advance, and this again costs you space, money, manpower to maintain them, cleaning, housekeeping, etc. Now they are caused because of either production schedule not level, or inaccurate forecasting, or excessive downtime, or you can say supply demand not well understood. If they were expecting the sales of 1 lakh, but actually the sales went off to only 25 to 30,000. So again, there is a failure in forecasting the sales. Or outdated supply is not deleted. Like the stock which has already been dispatched is not updated in the systems. Sometimes the system shows you have around 1 lakh produced items, but the godown has only 50, because 50K has been dispatched, which is not updated in the systems. Or personal preferences scattered or duplicated, or complete absence of forecasting methods, or unreliable suppliers. As I said, maybe you cannot trust the suppliers completely that they would be able to help you on the time, or if you want to use just in time, they are not ready to support. So we keep the stock. So that's how inventory again gets increased. And what are the measures we can use? 1, supply exactly what is needed, not more, not less. Better to get trained and implement just in time. Keep supply availability. Maybe instead of increasing the amount in inventory, try to increase your suppliers. Maybe if one is not able to provide you, have another backup for it. Understand the personal preferences, and as said earlier, always use the best forecasting tools. Because in forecasting tools, we never assume things. We always take the historic data and try to predict the future. This is what happens when you have overproduction, or when you have inventory. The transport. The movement of components, either from the godowns to the factory, or from the factory to retailers, or the movement of the goods or the components within the premises. Anything that relates to movement is again your transport. Now this normally happens either because of lack of transport facility. They don't have a proper transport facility, or they don't have efficient transport policies, or maybe there is usage of vehicles, or 2-3 departments trying to use the same vehicle at the same time, or poor value stream flow, or complex material flows, or there might be a lot of floor space which is getting wasted. So this also can cause potential damage to products. So unnecessarily material handling as well. Now why does this again cause some more options can be like complex material flows, or sharing of equipment, or poor value stream flow, or the most common is the badly designed processor. The measures what we can use are a good logistics circuits as short as possible in the plant. By implementing a new logistics system capable of distributing all the components required for production to several teams. Now here we have a diagram which best explains about the best uses of transport. If you see in the first picture, a single vehicle carrying, it's not even moving, actually it's like a crane which is just lifting it and moving off. So definitely because of the weight, it takes time, and it's moving one item at a time, so definitely it takes more space and time, etc. In the second picture, it's a trolley type, and the trolleys, they have wheels, so it moves fast. At one time you can move 3-4 different components, and it saves your time as well. And the motion. Any movement within workspace that cannot be done more ergonomically or efficiently. Something like picking heavy objects up from level to a bench or other working area, etc. It normally caused by absence of standard operating procedures, or maybe because of poor housekeeping, or maybe absence of completely standard operating procedures. Then scheduling that creates work and rework around, or you can say improper scheduling, or poor inadequate training. It's again caused, just like transport defect, it's again caused because of poor usage of the space. Now, what are the measures which we recommend is IT systems that match the demand of work reliable communications, fluid materials availability that meet the current demand, consistent scheduling that meets the demand, and most importantly, training the employees. Now, why do we consider motion as a waste? Because it always interrupts your production flow. Because you might be spending a lot of time only movement of the objects from one, say phase 1 to phase 3 or phase 4 to phase 5. There's a lot of time being consumed. So that's how we lose our time over there again. It increases the production time. The item which can be produced maybe in 3 hours, maybe it might be taking now 6 hours, 7 hours, just because the items are in motion. And because there's a lot of movement happening, there is always a cause of getting injured, or production units getting damaged, or raw materials getting damaged, etc. Now, overprocessing. This is something which you see normally in most of the industries. Okay. They do more than what is required to the particular product, maybe because of competition, or maybe because they want to stand something different, and that's how they again lose business, because they have overprocessed their product. The most common reasons why this happens is because the staff is not completely trained, or absence of again SOPs. There is no support from seniors. Maybe he did not get the on-the-job training or a buddy system, or there is an absence of backup plans, or there is the pressure of competition. The best example of overprocessing is something like, if you imagine when you started cooking, the first time you ever cooked, our food is always overprocessed. Either it gets burnt or the color gets black. So just think, how did you do it the second time? You always have taken help from your seniors, that is either your mother, your wife or sister who is good in cooking, or you must have gone through recipes, you have taken notes, then you have tried, or you have taken the ingredients in correct quantity, etc. So same thing applies even in industries. So we need to get trained by our seniors, get the processes, SOPs in place, get the quantities, how much should be used, what should be used, what temperature should be used, and that's how you can reduce your work processing. As said, the measures: proper process training, monitoring freshers on their work or on the job training, be still on your core competencies. Okay, there is one example about this core competencies which I'll be discussing in next slide. Now, we all know this brand Maggi, which is there for almost 50-60 years, if I'm not wrong. I've been eating it from the time I was a kid. You must have observed around 5 years back, there was a huge sales dip in Maggi. Okay, then the complete sales market went down, and that's when two more companies emerged and they have taken over the market of Maggi. One of them is Top Ramen, and one of them is Sunfeast. Now, why did it happen? Now, Maggi wanted to do something different, so they thought, we have been doing this this type of Maggi, or this taste of Maggi for so many years. Let's do something different to gain more customers or more clients or more business. So they have over-processed their noodles. The earlier the vintage Maggi, which I normally call, if you see, they are thick and the new Maggi which they went on producing was very thin, the masala flavor was changed, and the Maggi which was now getting distributed was completely different. So I normally call it overprocessing, because you have overprocessed your existing product. That's when they lose. So when they found out like this new product is not getting acceptable, they went back with the new slogans and new packing and brought the old recipe and old Maggi back. That's what they used to call Mera Maggi or Mera Masala Maggi, the original flavor. And they started getting competitions like Tell Us Your Maggi Stories or Mera Masala Movements. So this is how, or this is what the companies do, or what happens when you do too much of work on word processing. That's what we say, stick to our core competences. And this normally happens when you are trying to avoid the competition and you're trying to beat the competition. But at the same time, we also have to maintain our core competences. And the last defect is nothing but waiting. Okay. Now there is waiting time always in every sort of industry. Either it's waiting for machines, or waiting for people, or waiting for information, or waiting for product or approvals or orders, and so on and so on. Now what are the major causes for waiting is? One, poor understanding of time required to do a task. Okay. Or poor accountability for delivering on time. Okay. Waiting normally happens because of poor time management. There's a project getting started. You need a senior's approval for it. The paper's on his desk, but the papers are waiting to get signed for say for 3-4 hours. So that is again your waiting time. If it was signed earlier, you could have saved 3 hours of time. Now, how are these caused? Again, because of shortages or unreliable supply chain, or because of lack of multi-skilling or flexibility, or maybe downtime or break time, or it also causes because of quality, design, or engineering issues. Now, why do we say this waiting is a waste? Because of waiting, your start and stop of the production differs. Sometimes because of more waiting, you might have to pause the production because you're waiting for something, either for the raw materials or for the permissions or for some new standard operating procedures. So the production time increases basically. And this can also be caused because of poor workflow continuity, or because of bottlenecks or long lead times, or failed delivery dates. Maybe you're waiting for raw materials from suppliers. So that is the reason why most companies, they keep a lot of inventories in their stock. Now what are the measures you can do is, right now, schedule them. Again, you can use forecasting tools, you can use just in time, you can have increased number of suppliers, fewer meetings, work done in small focus groups, matching compatibilities to demand for service and suppliers. There is one fantastic example which I have observed about waiting. I was watching one of my favorite movies a couple of days back, acted by Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness. If you have seen this movie, you will understand what I am trying to say. If you have not seen it, I would recommend to see it. There is a particular scene where Will Smith playing the role of Chris Gardner, working in a stockbroker firm. Right? Their job is to make cold calls to the customers, trying to take appointments, go to them and meet them and explain the asset management methods what they have. Now Chris Gardner wanted to make more number of calls as compared to his other colleagues so that he can get more business. So he was thinking how to do that. What he observed was all his fellow colleagues, after every call they used to hang the receiver and again lift it up to make second call. So he observed that there is a wastage of 3-4 seconds of time, there is waiting time. So what he decided was, he will not hang the receiver, he will just hang the direct button, that's it. He is not going to put the receiver down, he is going to have the receiver in the hand, with the other hand is going to just hang the button. So because of this, he is able to save 3-4 seconds between every call. Then he was not drinking water, because he felt that if he gets up from his chair, go to the water cannon, drink the water, it's going to take another 2 to 3 minutes. And if he does it at least 10-15 times per day, it's again 45 minutes or so. So he said, okay, no to water. And because no to water, he said no to bathrooms. So he does not have to go to bathroom. So saving another 10 to 15 minutes of time. So overall, by doing all these things, he was able to save almost 30 minutes per day, or 30 to 40 minutes per day. And because of these 30 to 40 minutes, he was able to make 5 to 8 extra calls per day. So he is at par 8 more calls as compared to others. So this is how we need to identify the problems, or maybe you can say we can use methods like fishbone analysis to find out why exactly this cause is happening, what ideas can we do, or what can we implement. And once we start working on this or maintaining this eliminating Muda, there's a lot of difference we can see. Research says that companies which just concentrate on eliminating Muda have saved nearly $1 to $2 billion per year. One of my clients where I used to work as a quality consultant, they are into food and beverages business, just like Haldiram's. They are into dry snacks and all this stuff. Now what used to happen is every Diwali they used to get new sweet boxes printed. So they used to print something around 2 lakh, 3 lakh boxes. After Diwali season, almost 25 to 30,000 or 20,000 boxes were left. So they kept in the godown. Next Diwali, they were not using these boxes. They were using again new design boxes. So like this, for a couple of years it went on. Ultimately, they had a separate godown only with these boxes left in, with a stock of almost 1.5 lakh boxes, something like that. This is nothing but wrong planning, because of which you had extra inventory, extra workspace, all this stuff. So you have done a project over there. We implemented 5S and eliminating of Muda first. And in 1.5 months, around 45 days of time, we were able to put things in place, and we were able to show them a benefit of almost 2 lakhs per month, just by keeping right things in right place. Now, what are the advantages we get by eliminating these 7 types of Muda, or what do we save? One, of course, money. We save a lot of money. Okay? Now, a company does business for money. Now, they have only 2 ways to earn this money. One, either by creating more sales, generating more sales, or by reducing their expenditure. Okay. Now, reducing the expenditure is again to identify where exactly are we wasting. That is a waste. That is nothing but Muda, and try to cut off there. Second, you save a lot of time, because we are wasting time in work production, we are wasting time in inventory, we are wasting time in motion, we are wasting time in transport. So almost every type of Muda we are wasting time. Manpower. Okay. Because if you control the work production, you don't require extra batches or overtime to be done. So you can have a good control of the manpower. And finally, there is increase in the productivity. You see increase in revenues. So ultimately, you are at success. Okay. So this being a short webinar, I'm able to cover. I'm not able to cover completely in depth on each of them, but I think I have covered the causes and reasons and what are the simple tips we can implement to eliminate these Muda. Any questions you have, you can always type in the chat box, and we'll take it in the next couple of minutes. And you can always contact us in email ID if you do have any further questions after the webinar.
Right.
So I ask Shilpa to take over from here now.
Right. Thank you so much, Madhav. It's been a wonderful presentation. And I think, the participants also, we have not received any questions thus far. So it was very, very simply, presented, and I think it made a lot of sense. I hope all the participants understand the importance of removing Muda from their systems and processes and in their organization. And not only in the organizations, I think, Madhav, the concepts are so simple that even individuals, even housewives, even from a household front, if we implement Muda, things would become so much simpler and more effective, obviously. So just a final reminder, if there is any question, then please feel free to send in the chat window. Else, if you do not have any questions right now, but you need more information on Muda or on Lean and Six Sigma or on RedMad Learnings, please feel free to drop in a note to us at contact@lassib.org, and we would be glad to support you in any request that you have. So since we have not received any questions so far, I'd like to thank Madhav once again for taking the time and doing a wonderful presentation for us. And we look forward to having all of you out there for our next webinar as well. The calendar for the next year is being prepared and will be published shortly on lassib.org. So follow us there, and wish you all a very good evening, a very good day wherever you might be. And most importantly, have a very, very good, happy new year coming forward. So we look forward to being associated with you in the next year. And Madhav, thank you once again, and a very happy new year to you as well, if you don't get a chance to connect before that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye for now.